Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1996 Ford Taurus SHO. Up front is a 3.4 liter V8, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here SHO for a couple of reasons. First of all, the SHO is super cool. It got a V8 in this generation, which is amazing. But the second reason is the fact that I grew up with one of these Ford Tauruses. My parents drove, I believe, a 96 when I was very, very young. And so my first memories in a car are in this generation of Taurus, and I've never reviewed one. So I'm excited to get into that today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, ZachPradle.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 3.4 liter V8 under the hood. Well, the heads were designed by Yamaha, and the block actually came from a little company called Cosworth. And altogether, it puts out about 235 horsepower, which is pretty freaking neat. Now, like I said, I had no idea that they even put a V8 into this generation. This is sort of the bubble generation of Ford Taurus for, well, very obvious reasons. And I think it's incredibly cool that they even put this car together. However, there was an issue with the V8s with the camshafts. So Ford used this really weird way of holding the camshafts together. And unfortunately, at around 50,000 miles, they tend to crack and break for most vehicles. So this car has had the camshaft welded. That's the common aftermarket fix. Ford just said to use Loctite, but if you're looking to buy one of these, ask if the camshaft has been welded. You'll want it to be. Like I said, paired to it, 4-speed automatic transmission. Unfortunately, this was the only transmission offered in the SHO for this generation. Previous generation SHOs actually got the manual transmission, but this, unfortunately, they dropped the manual option for just this 4-speed. It's fine. It feels like any other Ford 4-speed. I'm not overly in love with it. I don't hate it with a passion. It's just kind of eh. And with the V8 up front, I really would have liked a 5-speed manual, but beggars can't be choosers, although I do think that it's sort of accredited to why this car didn't perform as well as previous generations. Last but not least, about the drivetrain of the SHO is the fact that this Taurus is front-wheel drive. So that's stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. On the left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is my tachometer. Very simple, very Ford of the era. On the steering wheel, I have my cruise control options to left and right, and then the steering wheel is big and pillowy. Again, a lot of Ford parts bin stuff in here, which is kind of welcoming to me since I grew up with vehicles like this. Off to the left, I do have my headlight switches and my gauge dimmer switches. And on the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, I do get this circular radio/climate control area. I absolutely love this. This is so, so cool because it is so bubble Ford of the 90s. And I love that. It's just very iconic. Up to the top and middle section, we do have the radio controls. I do have a tape deck. I actually do have a CD player. It's in the trunk. Pretty cool. And then down on the bottom half is the climate controls. So I have temperature, fan speed, where to send it, vent, AC, and temperature, as well as auto climate controls, which are very, very nice. Continuing down the center console, I have this really big open cubby up at the front. And then I have the shifter. The shifter is very, very typical Ford, and it does the job well, but it's not the most high-class shifter I've ever dealt with. Then I do have cup holders behind the shifter, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 1996 Ford Taurus SHO, and unfortunately it fails. I guess as a kid, I never brought along too much water, or I guess my parents didn't bring me much water along as a kid, because the Ford Taurus from the bubble era fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then I get a center console and the seats. I really wish that the seats got some type of SHO stitching or design or embroidery on the seats. However, not the end of the world. They are just very classic. They are comfortable. I'm not saying they're not comfortable. I just wish that it was a little bit more special. I wish the gauge cluster said something a little bit more special besides just premium fuel. But hey, like I said, beggars can't be choosers. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1996 Ford Taurus SHO, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I do get vents back here. I do get a center console armrest. It's just a foam brick. It doesn't really do anything past that. I do have power windows, seat back pockets, and sitting up normally, my head comes a little close to the ceiling, but not quite touching it. My knees do touch the seats if I put them forward, but if I spread them a little bit, it's totally fine. I fit back here pretty comfortably, and what's cool is just being back here again. I haven't been in the back seat of a Ford Taurus like this since 2004, I think, is actually when my parents sold it. So I was probably still in a car seat when that happened. So being back here is a little surreal. You know, so much time has passed since I've gotten a view like this. So many things have happened. Let's go hop around back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the 1996 Ford Taurus SHO. We do have a trunk release here on the key fob, which is really, really nice. Then pop it up here, and there you go. Now we do have the rudimentary hood prop for the hood shots, but other than that, huge trunk. Really, really impressed. But other than the CD player, nothing really crazy to write home about, but so much stuff. I mean, as a kid, I played football. I'm sure, you know, my pads, my cleats went back here. It's so cool to be driving a car that I grew up with but never had the opportunity to drive. So that, to me, like, my own personal nostalgia is off the charts right now. But tons and tons of space. American sedans were always very good at that up until recently, so there you go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and obviously the first thing you're gonna notice is the tint and color. Let's talk about the tint. Let's get a nice in-car shot here, as you can see on the screen. Now, this is not color correcting. Everything in here is now pinkish purple because of the tint. Anyway, let's talk about the rest of the exterior because this car is finished in rose mist. It was only offered in 1996 for the SHO, and they used this on other Ford products. But altogether, I believe the owner told me there's about 86 Tauruses to get this color, and some of them were just for auto shows or design prototypes. So only around 50 some odd SHOs actually got sold in this color, which is so friggin' cool. I love it. I love the look of it. I love how it changes with different lights. And I think it has to be one of, if not the most interesting color I've seen from a vehicle like this. I absolutely love it. And I didn't think I'd be saying that about a Ford paint code. However, I do like that the SHO gets a little spoiler at the back. It also gets some additional flares here and there. But now let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving a Ford Taurus SHO from 1996? Well, this isn't my first SHO. I've done the more modern one, or at least the most modern one available right now, which was a 2013 that ran, I believe, until about 2017. But what do I think? Well, this car is really, really interesting to me. First of all, I still can't get over the fact that they crammed a V8 into one of the cutest, most cuddly sedans to come out of America in the 1990s. It's Bubbly. It looks like an anime character. However, because of that engine and because of how weird it is, this vehicle has to exist mostly on life support. There's not a whole lot of SHOs around. This year, 1996, the first year of this body style, they sold just under 5,000 of them. So, given the fact that it's over 25 years old, let's say half of those cars are still existing, you're going to run into a pretty big problem. The other thing is that the owner, Chase, was telling me that there's not much aftermarket for this vehicle. There's not really much that you can do in terms of modification and aftermarket support. There was a group buy for coilovers, but they weren't great, so Chase ended up adapting other Ford Focus ST coilovers to make it work on this car. And that's going to be a running theme. What can you do to make it work? And so that's what I mean by life support. This car needs all the help it can get just to keep running. However, something interesting happens when that's the case. It forms an incredibly tight-knit community. Chase knows tons and tons of Taurus SHO owners. They're all friendly. They have to be. They can't afford to be mean to one another because their cars will be off the road. And so, as I'm told, they're very kind, very thoughtful, very inviting people because they have to be. If these cars are to survive, it takes people like Chase to do so. And that's what I love about oddball vehicles like this. When was the last time you saw a Ford Taurus SHO from this generation driving around, actually doing what a car is supposed to do? I certainly can't tell you the last time I saw one. And to me, that's always the coolest car to film. Something special and unique. And let me tell you, this car is special and unique. Huge thank you to Chase for letting me take out this Ford Taurus SHO. Such a cool car, and I was immediately drawn to it for obvious reasons. Chase has been absolutely awesome to work with. I'm filming another one of his vehicles. I don't know if that's out on the channel yet, so I won't spoil anything about that, but I can't thank him enough. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.